job, I don't believe in that type of comment. There have been umpteen reasons to be apprehensive in 2023, more so while waiting for the budget. US Federal Reserve's unbridled aggression, rising cost Ukraine and Russia, and China's COVID crisis, to name a few. Yet in the backdrop of like this government has decided to go bold and big on capex and chosen consistency in a world characterized by randomness and volatility. The Prime Minister has outlined the period from 2022 to 2047 as the period of Amrit Kal. It is a vision to make India a developed country during this golden phase. To realize this, India needs to rapidly invest in social infrastructure. This investment would need to come from taxpayers' money and not borrowings. India's tax to GDP ratio is still below the critical mark of 15%. India's gross tax to GDP, which was 11% in financial year 2019, fell to 9.9% in financial year 20 and marginally improved to 10.2% in financial year 21-22. This is much lower when we compare ourselves with the emerging market economy, which is average of 21, and OECD, the average is 34%. Today, the country boasts more than 4.3 million crorepati's households, equivalent to 23 million consumers. They are spread all over the country. By 2047, if political and economic reforms have their desired effect, India has the potential to become the fastest growing economy in the world. This growth will not only make the Indian middle class the biggest income group in the country, but it will set to be major driver of economic, political and social growth. Finance Minister's full-fledged budget before next year's general election can be commended on many counts. I mention only three. For staying the course on fiscal consolidation, changing the composition of government expenditure in favor of capital as against revenue spending, and third, welcome move relating to personal income taxation. In turbulent time like this, a good budget can only be said is just a good beginning. The turmoil in the global economy is likely to continue as the impact of higher interest rates shows up in weaker demand for consumption and investment. Geopolitical tensions continue to disrupt every supplies and trade. As the resilience of the domestic economy gets tested by global headwinds, deft fiscal maneuvers is necessary, like they were this year. Now, coming to the basics, there is need for some answers. PM Kisan allocation is 13.33% lower as compared to budgetary estimate of rupees 68,000 crores made in 22-23. The revised estimate of 22-23 was reduced to 60,000 crores, no doubt, but in 21-22, an actual expenditure was rupees 68,825 crore, which was incurred on the PM Kisan. The figure is there for all of us to see. Should we believe that people have moved from farming to some other avenues for better? Or should we believe that they have been pauperized and have become daily wage earners? On MGNREGA, this generated an all-time high, 389 crore person days of employment in 21-22. 363 crores in 21-22. Even this fiscal's project is 290 to 300% days will exceed the 265 crore plus generated in 29-20 and 2018 and 19. It is a demand-driven scheme. Whenever we make this point, always it is said it's a demand-driven. But here the figure shows how it has met. The budgeted amount this year is 60,000 crores. The question is, how realistic is the assessment? If the next southwest monsoon is normal and the non-farm economy timely recovers, MGNREGA may not require any additional funding. Till then, do we have to keep our fingers crossed? Coming to free food distribution scheme, and this is a scheme which we have all experienced, moderated income inequality in many states. Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana played a key role in keeping extreme poverty in the country at the lowest level. We didn't hear a single death because of hunger, because of this program. IMF report says extreme poverty was at the lowest level of 0.8% during the pandemic hit 2020. SBI study, State Bank of India study, has analyzed that several government transfer payments for the poor are adding rupees 75,000 to a household per annum. But I would like to draw the attention of the government to the design flaw, as ration records have not been updated since 2011 onwards. More than 40% of India's population is currently excluded from National Food Security Act. 40%. In many villages and slums, the most marginalized castes and communities are often without NFSA ration cards. However, states like Odisha, Tamil Nadu, Rajasthan, West Bengal and Chhattisgarh have either universalized or substantially expanded coverage with state cards. Sir, here I would like to remind the government about the Supreme Court judgment of last August, that is 2022, which had directed the Union government to expand National Food Security Act coverage. Nothing has happened till now. Nothing has happened. And the answer that comes from the government is, let the census be over. Despite Supreme Court's direction, based on population projection, at least 100 million beneficiaries, especially children born in the last decade, are missing from the ration list. Where are they going to be? When are they going to be covered under NFSA? I come to another very important issue, where Odisha has been affected to a very great extent. I'll first put the figure of the budget, where food subsidy in Food Corporation of India under National Food Security Act, the revised estimate of 22-23 was 2,14,596 crores. This budget is 1,37,207 crores. There is a drastic cut. On food subsidy for decentralized procurement of food grains, 72,283 crores, which has come down to 59,793 crores. The government may say, because we have withdrawn Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana, there is no need to procure more. And here actually the catch lies. The catch is Odisha produces more than 72 million tons of paddy. And we purchase, FCI plus state government purchases the whole amount from the farmers because to help the farmers at the MSP rate. Very few people keep rice for their own consumption. Other than that, the rest is purchased. What will happen there? Now already Odisha government is purchasing, but union government is not purchasing any paddy at all. No rice. Earlier, rice was being moved through Kerala to Tamil Nadu and also to the northeast. Now that is also not being done. Why this type motherly attitude to Odisha? That is the question which I would like to put. With this curtailment of or minimizing the purchase, who are the states which are getting affected? Odisha is the major state which is getting affected. And I would like to say, FCI is not taking parboiled rice. Corporation is not making payments to Odisha, though that is due in there. Sir, this budget is of 45 lakh 397 crores, and which is an increase of 7.5%. That is laudable, as I had said earlier. But what is the position? The position is, as I would say, there is a structural problem with our budget. More than 40% goes for the interest, to cover the interest. 30% goes on salary. So are we correcting it to a certain extent? No. Not much. We don't see any light from this budget. And I'm also reminded of another point, sir. You are aware, most of us are also aware. Are we at any point of time talking about Sahara India? 13 crore people had invested in that. What has happened? Doesn't government have any responsibility? We will say it is sub judice, Supreme Court is taking over, SBI is looking after it. But who is caring for these people, 13 crore people who had invested? No, not a single reply is coming from the government. Sir, coming to health issue, I would just deal with investors are 13, large number of people are affected. Sir, in a speech, Finance Minister has announced budget for health, not including research, will be roughly 86,175 crores, and that is 615 rupees for every person if I calculate it as per our population. This is a 2.7% increase from the previous year and lower than the rate of inflation. In real terms, the health spending has declined. Vaccinating to a single child against all childhood illness in our country costs rupees 1,600. A day of hospitalization in the public hospital is estimated 2,800 rupees. At a private hospital, it is more than 6,800 rupees. Rupee spending on health by the government gives more return than out-of-pocket or private spending by citizens. National Health Mission allocates less than 3%, that is 717 crores of rupees to non-communicable disease. For communicable disease, it is 3 times more, that is 2,178 crores. For reproductive and child health service, it is 9 times more, that is 6,273 crores. There is a need to rebalance, to pay attention to non-communicable diseases. On education, sir, share of education has fallen over the past 7 years, from 10.4% to 9.5%. This is stated in the state's in the economic survey. While expenditure on social service increased from 9 lakh 15,000 crores to 21 lakh 32,000 crores, the share of education has shrunk from 42.8% to 35.5% between 2015 and 2022. As a share of the GDP, the budgetary allocation for education saw a minimal gain, that is 0.1 percentage points, from 2.8% to 2.9% during this 7-year period. On taxation, sir, Finance Minister has made 5 announcements to reduce the tax burden. 4 pertain to the new regime. The last one is for exemption on leave encashment. But my question is the new tax regime attractive? Despite government's effort to simplify the tax system, the uptake of this regime is low due to the unavailability of common tax deductions and exemptions. Why should we have to run to the chartered accountant or a lawyer to understand how much tax I have to pay? Can't we make it simple? Even today, with this new tax regime, it is so cumbersome, it is difficult to understand. Very difficult to understand. Coming to the devolution of states, sir, the state share has never been close to 41%, though it has been announced by the Finance Commission, 15th Finance Commission. The state share has never been close to 41% due to cess and surcharge imposed by the Union government. Odisha government, our Chief Minister Navin Patnaik has been repeatedly writing to the Prime Minister that you share some of this, but that is falling on deaf ears. It keeps major chunk of taxes, and what we have been asking, Odisha is facing natural disaster year after. Our only demand is that you allow, and this we have discussed, the state government also has discussed with the Niti Aayog, with the Prime Minister, that you make Odisha a special focus state.
Time is exhausting.
For at least 3 years. If a natural disaster hits Odisha, allow or declare it as a special focus state where 90:10, that is the center and state share, for 3 years only, so that we tide over the situation and come up forward. Sir, on railways, I will be failing on my duty if I don't mention 2-3 words, because the rail minister is a member of this house representing our state. We find a significant feature. It has set aside nearly a quarter of its total capex outlay of rupees 10 lakh crores. The budgetary support amounts to 2.4 lakh crores. The goal is to raise the share of rail freight traffic from 27%, road transport is 64%, to 45% by 2030. Freight earnings are 2.5 times the passenger earnings. It is possible to improve on both counts. It's not unachievable. It is possible. The railways must adapt to become a transporter of FMCG, automobiles, and other high-value products for which last mile connect is important. On the passenger side, upper class travel should remain competitive vis-à-vis air and road travel. There is scope to raise both traffic and freight revenues. Despite pensions, can we imagine? Pensions of railway is over 25% of the total operating expenses of the railways. The budget numbers indicate 30,000 crores of rupees has been set aside for doubling of tracks. This was only 9,000 crores in 21-22. 32,000 crores to be spent on new tracks, that is 50% increase in 2 years. 40,000 crores on the rolling stock, which was only 8,000 crore last year. 8,000 crores for electrification. These are big numbers, very big numbers. The obvious question is, from my state point of view, how much is actually percolating to the state of Odisha, which has been denied railway development for last so many years. The obvious question, of course, is whether railway have the capacity for absorption and implementation for this expanded capital. Capital investment in the railway is overdue, no doubt, but it needs financial reforms, administrative reforms, and greater independence. Before concluding, sir, I have a small demand, as my friend from Kendrapada has just mentioned. The station is there, tickets are being sold, rail line is there, but it is not functioning. Passenger train should ply on that route. That is necessary. With these words, I conclude.
Thank you. Shrimati Sangeeta Azad ji.